Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the World of Wrestling podcast. Here today to discuss about AEW Dynamite February 25th, 2026 review. This show, folks, was a very fun, enjoyable show to sit through for 2 hours on a Wednesday night. We got some stories that were told and some really good matches. I actually feel like the tides are turning when it comes to entertainment value between WWE and AEW. AEW is starting to click. They are starting to find their mojo. They are hitting it on all cylinders between storytelling and the wrestling itself. I will say I disagree with the move of Ricochet taking the L here, the pinfall in this 10-man tornado no holds barred match, but that was a fucking barbaric, insane match. The whole area by the ring and around the ring was just a complete mess. Utter and complete chaos is what that was, and it was a fun match though. And it wasn't super barbaric or anything. There was one spot during that main event where one of the members of the Demand took a shot square to the dome piece with a vacuum cleaner that holds the dirt in the vacuum cleaner, and that shit went all over the place. I mean, even the announcers were coughing from the inhaling the debris that came out of it. Pretty nutty. I hope the guy that took the shot in the skull did not suffer a concussion. I mean, shit, our skulls are not meant to be whacked around with, heavy material and whatnot, but what a fucking main event match that was. That was an extremely fun show to sit through, and main event wise, it was fun to sit through altogether. So let's get into the review. They did do the right thing by Swerve Strickland. They explained why he did what he did. Now, I would have to say they did it kind of ass backwards in the order it was done with Moxley's match. And then to that, I think they should have went with Swerve Strickland first, and then to Moxley doing his matchup. But either way, at least they explained it, and they didn't leave it just like go and not do anything. That is how you do a fucking show, folks. And I have to say that was the way it needs to be done. So Jon Moxley faced somebody by the name of... Hold on one second, guys. I don't know what the heck's going on here. Trying to find the review for it, and I can't seem to find it. Oh. Alright, 1 minute, guys. I sincerely apologize. So the matches we had on this show tonight, we had Jon Moxley versus El Clone. That was a joke of a match. And Jon Moxley obviously won that match. Fair matchup, not bad. So after the Jon Moxley El Cone match, they showed highlights of what happened in the main event last week on Dynamite and with Swerve Strickland and Kenny Omega. Now, I had a little bit of a question here. Prince Nana was very concerned about why Swerve was doing what he was doing with Kenny Omega, telling him, "What are you doing? You don't need to do all this, yada, yada, yada," which is fine and dandy. But tonight, Prince Nana appeared at ringside and demanded that Tony Schiavone, Excalibur, and Nigel McGuinness get up from their spots at the commentary desk, acting like he's a heel now. After we saw him last week begging Swerve, "What are you doing? Why do you need to do this?" and all that. So that was one logic gap I would have to admit that I did not like. It didn't really explain why Prince Nana has changed along with Swerve when Nana was not exactly agreeing with Swerve's decision to go along with this move that he was doing on Kenny Omega last week. But anyway, Swerve Strickland comes out to ringside as Nana introduces him, and Strickland asks the fans if they missed him. He says they really reinforced the commentary desk he's standing on after he sent Kenny Omega's crashing into it last Wednesday, and then says whatever happens next is on Omega, because he had the nerve to get in his way on the path to becoming the AEW World Champion and call someone tougher than him, saying Brody King was more dangerous than he was. He says he's a man of his word, then says Omega challenged him as a man and as a threat. Strickland says he spent the last 3 years taking down the Elite, and he finished that last Wednesday, and recalls Hangman Adam Page asking him if he regrets what he did as AEW World Champion. He says while he initially said he did, he now realizes that was the peak of his career and puts the entire AEW roster on notice. He says anyone that get in the back can get beaten when he chooses, and then says he'll take them down and stop anyone in his path. We then head backstage to Brody King and Bandito, where King steps up to Strickland and says he's next in line for an AEW World Championship rematch. Next, we get Orange Cassidy and Gabe Kidd. This was a fun matchup. I thought this was fair. Darby Allin made another appearance on the show at the end of the match, but this was a stiff competition between the two of these guys, and I thought it went over well. I liked what happened after the match, though. After the match, Clark Connors appears and begins beating down Cassidy. Darby Allin's music hits, and he comes running down to the ring. He hits Kidd and Connors with a skateboard, and Cassidy connects with a orange punch on Kidd. When Kidd slides back into the ring, Allin then uses his skateboard to land a double stomp on Kidd's spine off the top rope. So I thought that was pretty nice. Then we had Kevin Knight versus Mansoor. Oh shit, Mansoor. I didn't know that he was facing Mansoor. Mansoor was formerly on WWE at one point. So Kevin Knight won that match, obviously. After the match, Knight grabs a microphone and says after Hangman Page becomes the new AEW World Champion at Revolution, he wants a shot at the title. Okay. So we get to MJF choosing the stipulation for himself and Hangman Page AEW World Championship match at Revolution. Tony Schiavone introduces Hangman Page and MJF, and both men make their way to the ring. MJF demands that the fans be quiet when their world champion is talking. Then recalls Page agreeing not to challenge for the title again, provided that MJF let their Revolution match have a stipulation attached to it. He says Denver will not have a say in the stipulation for his and Page's AEW World Championship match at Revolution. Then says he's figured out a way for both of them to choose their stipulation together. MJF says he has a quarter in his pocket. If it flips heads, it will be his stipulation, which is a MJF stipulation, which is the where he can end up having a match where it's one-sided. He can use any weapon he wants, but Hangman Page would get disqualified if he tries to cheat. If it lands on tails, then Hangman Page gets his Texas death match. He flips the coin, and the coin reads that it is heads instead of tails. And they go ahead and they say, okay, the match is officially a one-way hardcore match or no disqualification match. Well, they find out that that is incorrect. The coin was rigged. Both sides were heads, giving him the absolute advantage, guaranteeing that the match was going to be the MJF stipulation. So, and he didn't want to give up the quarter at first. MJF or Hangman Page knew that this was all rigged. He said, there's no way in hell you would leave this to chance. So let me see the quarter. And he was like, nah, you don't need to see no quarter. You lost. You're just being a sore loser. Blah, 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 blah. He then goes ahead and gets a crowd of other wrestlers from Bandito, Brody King, and Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey. And they all stop him from leaving the arena. And then they force him to have to submit the quarter over to Hangman Page, which then they discover that the quarter is rigged. And Tony Schiavone then says, okay, well, if that's the case, Tony Khan announced in Schiavone's earpiece that the match will then take place at Revolution in a Texas death match. Regardless. A lot of the commentary that both of them said back and forth was really good. This was an excellent segment. And that's how the whole segment went down. I thought the segment was excellent. It was a good way to go. I don't think that there was anything... I mean, they could have done a little bit differently. Maybe. I don't know. But personally, I think the segment was fair. Very enjoyable stuff. And the commentary between the two is fun as shit to listen to. They really did a great job. So kudos to them. And the match will be a Texas death match. So following that, we had the Babes of Wrath going up against Mega Bad for the AEW Women's Tag Team titles. This match was whatever. I mean, it didn't really have an actual ending. It was a disqualification. Babes of Wrath retained their tag team titles, obviously. Nothing special. After the match was over, Mega Bad and Lena Cross continue to beat down Nightingale and Cameron. Brody King then makes his way to the ring. Mark Davis follows, and Don Callis joins the commentary team. We then get Brody King versus Mark Davis. This was a nice little scrap match. I thought this was kind of good. Brody King ended up getting the victory, and Mark Davis has got back-to-back weeks of losses, which kind of sucks. But then again, Mark Davis is not looked at as a guy that's going to do anything spectacular in pro wrestling as a singles competitor. So, as I've already mentioned, he's better as a tag team wrestler than a singles competitor at this point in his career, honestly, because I don't think he's ever going to get over as a singles competitor. But it is what it is. Anyway, After the match is over, Bandito joins King in the ring as King grabs a microphone and tells Swerve Strickland to look him in the eye and tell him that he's not what he says he is. He says that he is the most dangerous man in all of AEW, and then says he's looking for a fight at Revolution and challenges him to a match. That's going to be good. I swear, this is mind-numbingly insane how AEW kind of has shifted. And I know I've gone back and forth in the last couple of years between WWE and AEW and how I'm praising one promotion and dissing the other. I would like to be able to praise both of them, but there's always one or the other doing something wrong and being fucking stupid as shit when it comes to creative. Or they're not even trying, honestly. Tony Khan has put his foot on the gas pedal and he ain't slowing down. I mean, he is doing some fucking good shit here in the last couple of weeks. If he ain't having any storytelling, he's having wrestling matches that actually mean something, that leans towards a fucking common goal to get to where it needs to go with the story, at least. When it came to the who's getting to challenge for the world title. So, I mean, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. I'm starting to feel there's a shift in wrestling, and it's going to AEW. I feel like AEW is doing the better stuff than WWE, and then again, WWE hasn't really set a huge bar to overcome to say that they're doing the better shit on their show. But the last couple of weeks, I got to admit, AEW has been a fun show to watch. I've been noticing, especially tonight, they got a lot of stars that are transitioning their stories over to Collision. And I don't know, guys, but I may have to start tuning in for Collision and see what's going on. I'm not going to guarantee that I'm going to actually do a review on it, but I may start watching Collision and see how things are going. If the shows are entertaining and I feel like they're worth reviewing, I may start reviewing those as well. I don't know when I'm going to do those. I may do those on Tuesday nights. I may start watching Collision on Tuesday night because I don't watch wrestling on a Saturday unless it's for the pay-per-view. But I am not watching the Elimination Chamber live. I'm going to be watching it on a replay. I will be catching that right after I'm done watching the UFC event that's taking place in Mexico. If it actually happens, if it cancels, then I will watch Elimination Chamber live. But I'm going to probably be watching the Elimination Chamber right after the UFC fight card is over. Because I would prefer watching UFC over this fucking shit with WWE. I mean, fuck them. If it was AEW's pay-per-view being on a Saturday competing against UFC, I would definitely fucking just watch it. No doubt. I can always go back and catch the UFC card on another day. But in all honesty, I'm not missing the UFC fight card that's happening in Mexico over over Elimination, watching Elimination Chamber over the UFC fight card from Mexico. They got some really good fights on this card. I'm looking forward to it. And I'll be honest, I've been a fucking huge fan. Despite the fact that I've been betting on UFC, I've also been enjoying myself watching it. So, even if I was to stop betting on UFC cards altogether, and I just watched it to watch it, I would. There's no doubt about it. UFC has become something I absolutely enjoy sitting back and watching. I could always use Tapology to do that as like predicting fights and whatnot to make it a little bit more fun and entertaining and have more investment in it, which is why I like betting, because it gives me more investment. But at the same time, betting is just, it costs money, man. And unless you got like a Novig or Fliff that give you money based on the fact that you're making picks or logging in every single day to the sports book and they give you free money, or you can bet it in cents so you can follow a bankroll. I mean, the whole thing is just absolutely not worth doing. And I've kind of come to that conclusion at this point because it just makes it so fucking difficult, stressful, and annoying. I'm not doing this shit to be stressed out. I mean, I got stressed enough with my job, okay? I don't need to make betting a stressful thing on top of it. Just saying. But, anyway. From there, we see Swerve Strickland and Prince Nile watching from backstage as Bandito says he wants to fight at Revolution as well, and Andrade El Idolo comes out and makes his way to the ring to stare down Bandito and answer his call. So apparently at Revolution, we're getting Andrade versus Bandito. That is a fucking great match. Granted, I will admit, there is no story at all. But him beating Bandito is well worth putting this match together because it paddens his wins. It gives him that legitimacy of the fact that he is worthy enough to challenge for a world title in the future. And beating a star like Bandito is something I would say, yes, you can point that as he definitely earned it. He's earning his stripes and moving further in the ranks to possibly challenge for the world title in the future. So I would be very, very attuned to that idea eventually once we get to it. I want to see, I'll be honest, I would like to see Andrade end up being AEW World Champion. I think Tony Khan should do it. I think Tony Khan has been booking Andrade great as of late. Since he brought him back, he has put a lot of effort. He has put a lot of time and care into Andrade's character and his win and loss records, which makes it believable as if he goes in for an opportunity for the AEW world title in the future. I definitely could see him winning this damn world championship this year against someone who's a babyface. I'd say by like fall or winter time, I could see Andrade ending up becoming the AEW world champion. There's only I think there's only one other heel that will take that right away from him. That would be Swerve Strickland. So that's the only person I could see Swerve being the only one that becomes a heel this year as world champion besides Andrade. But I'd like to see Andrade El Idolo become world champion in AEW. I think it's about damn time Tony Khan does the same moves that WWE did. They're taking all AEW stars and using them as props to hold their championships in the most shittiest of ways with no stories. I mean, it's just done by spite. Tony Khan's building Andrade up into a story where if he wins the world title while being an ex-WWE star, he actually is doing it right. And I'm very happy to see that. I really am. Now, I'll admit, Cody Rhodes, his build towards the WWE Championship, that was done right. That was the one thing that WWE did correctly with an AEW transition. But the rest of them, Jade Cargill, give me a fucking break. She should have never even sniffed a fucking world title shot. Who else? There's a couple other women. Blake Monroe, formerly known as Mariah May. I don't know what's happened to her. She had a botch in a championship match where she was supposed to kick out, but she didn't. And then she accidentally dropped someone on their fucking head and gave them a bad concussion. So, she's been on a terrible run in NXT. I don't know what the fuck's happened to her, but she's been just god-awful in WWE. Seems like she's just got a curse running over, like a black cloud hanging over her head. It's like as if she was cursed because she left AEW for WWE, which is crazy. So I feel bad for her, but also she's making the mistakes. I don't know how bad I should feel for her, but kind of sucks because she wasn't making these kinds of mistakes in AEW so much. Or at least I wasn't paying it. I didn't really notice them. But It is what it is. Anyway, backstage where Okada proposes that himself and Kyle Fletcher tag for the first time ever on Saturday's edition of Collision, as Fletcher is speaking with Renee Paquette, and Fletcher agrees to the idea. He also mentions Tommaso Ciampa in his promo, so there's a possibility we might see Tommaso Ciampa get Sylvia back. No guarantees though, but it would be nice to see that happen. And then the main event, we had the Young Bucks, Jack Perry, and the Rascals go up against the Demand of FTR. The Demand and FTR in the Mile High Madness Anything Goes match, which I thought was fun, enjoyable shit. Jack Perry was the one who ended up getting the pinfall here in this matchup, and I thought this was a very enjoyable matchup for the main event. And the show went by pretty quick. It didn't feel so slow and lethargic. It felt like it was a, quick pace show, and it was pretty painless. Very watchable and very enjoyable stuff. I got to admit, I got to give him a thumbs up for this show. This was a very fun and enjoyable show. I honestly don't know what... I feel like I'm the minority, though, on the Monday Night Raw review. I did not think that show was bad, but I didn't think it was much of anything. But it did not hit like, like how AEW's been hitting the last couple of weeks. That Raw last night was just kind of, or 2 nights ago, was just, it wasn't terrible to the point where I felt like I had to scream to the top of my lungs about how shitty the fucking show was. But, I mean, honestly, the show has never really holds a high standard anymore on either shows, really, Raw or SmackDown. So, I mean, but like I said in my review this past Monday, I mean, it's not like they're doing a fantastic job over there. So, I mean, I thought the show was watchable, but it was not like, oh my God, entertaining. This show was entertaining. It wasn't like, oh my God, a 5 out of 5 star show. I mean, I got to admit that. I mean, it wasn't that spectacular, but it was a good show. I mean, I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars, or maybe even a 4. But, I mean, the show is far better than a Monday Night Raw show. I mean, Jesus Christ. I don't know what in the world WWE is doing, but they got the biggest fucking wrestling event of their entire year coming up, and they are dragging their feet trying to get into WrestleMania. And they're selling tickets that are outrageous high prices. Even with discount, they're still high. I wouldn't waste my fucking a penny on a WWE show ever again. My Royal Rumble was my WrestleMania moment. Truthfully. I mean, Backlash is coming to Tampa. That's where I live nearby Tampa. And, I wouldn't be caught dead spending thousands of dollars to watch a fucking WWE show. I could care less. These shows are absolutely fucking terrible. And just because I said it was watchable this past Monday does not mean I am favoring WWE and what they're doing there. Their show is fucking dog shit. AEW, on the other hand, they're starting to pull, get some momentum. They're pulling their own weight. They're starting to create some stories. I mean, don't get me wrong, not every segment's got a story in it, but at least there's something going on in each and every, every match feels like it has a purpose in some cases. Some cases just showcase of wrestlers and whatnot, but I will be honest, it is doing a lot better than it has been in the past. So I give AEW a lot of props. Congratulations to them. Thank you, Tony Khan, for finally giving us the last couple of weeks of good, decent television that we can sit through and say something positive about instead of faking it. So I greatly appreciate that from Tony Khan, and I hope AEW continues to give us this consistent and entertaining content that we surely miss and want to continue to keep seeing. So anyway, guys, at this time, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. Thank you guys very much for watching. And have a great night, guys. Bye.